Hello and welcome back to Universal Love Law. Um, I'm going to I'm sorry guys, I'm going to break down the dark side of the Sagittarius energy today. So, first, I want to give this announcement that, everybody does not display these more negative traits. The people that do display these traits are usually victims of some type of trauma, early childhood trauma, or some mental illnesses, or they just don't take responsibility for their actions and they utilize their free will to do negative or harm or to hurt others, and they don't realize that they're doing it because they may have narcissistic tendencies and they may just be self-centered and focused on themselves and not realizing that they're hurting others. And if they are hurting others and aware of it, they just don't care, then that shows you there's something mentally wrong. So we should have compassion for people that live like this, because they will learn their lesson, because what goes around comes around. You do to others what you want done to yourself, because it will come back. You sow the seeds, you reap the benefit. You reap what you sow. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, they may have these negative qualities. You may have some of these negative qualities, or you may know people that have all or some of these negative qualities. It's not about feeling bad. It's about being aware of your actions, and every action has a reaction. It's very important to be aware of how powerful a tool like astrology can be when you're understanding psychology and the way people are. Okay, so that is my disclaimer for you guys. You don't have to take it personal, and you don't have to take it as ultimate truth. You could take it purely as entertainment, or you can take what works for you and understand that, okay, I may have those negative qualities, and I need to just at least be aware of when I'm acting in that negative way. So let's jump into the Sagittarius fire. So Sagittarius is a fire sign that is mutable. So they can go with the flow and fit into environments, and can be very mutable, meaning they can blend into many situations and adapt. They're very adaptable. They can adapt to other people and and all types of groups. It doesn't matter your race, all those things. They can really fit into certain into groups, and connecting with others and understanding other cultures. And so there's really good qualities, but there's can be a lot of negative qualities as well, because with that, Sagittariuses can definitely be followers and mock people and mimic people and steal people's originality and claim it to be theirs. So they can be they could be so mutable that they can be fake. Like they could not have no identity and be like everyone else. Though Sagittarius that are darker sided can be followers, and that could get a person in a lot of problems, because people don't like followers. They want people to be themselves, relatable, but also have their own unique aspect of themselves. So dark sided Sagittarius, they have that problem. Another thing about a dark sided Sagittarius is they don't have filters. When they're darker sided, they in their mind everything's funny to them. Like dark sided Sagittarius, they could, like, things could be funny, and things that really are hurting another person can be funny, and sometimes a person's pain can be funny. So they can laugh at people, they can be bullies, they can be jokesters, and they can be not remorseful. They can really detach and not care. I am a Sagittarius with a very strong dominant of a lot of water energy. Thank God, it helps me a lot. But I have been mean to people in the past, not realizing. I have laughed at people, and I have laughed thinking I was laughing with them, but they weren't laughing with me. And it took for me to bump into some very strong-minded, aggressive, assertive water signs that were like, I don't like how you just did that. Like, sometimes Sagittarius need a wake-up call to realize that they are being really rude. Because that's another thing. They could be so rude, so impatient. They don't have patience. Like, they just don't figure out why people can't move fast like them. Like, a gift of Sagittarius is they are very mental people. They can get things done. They're very smart. And so they know how to do things. They catch on. Like, they like to do things. Like, if they see it once, they're like, okay, let me learn how to kill two birds with one stone. They like to do things quickly. That's how they kind of share that energy with the polar opposite Gemini, right? But when a dark-sided Sagittarius is certain places, they can be very rude. They can cut in line. They can steal so that they don't have to wait in line. They'll just put the money on the counter, walk out. They can be very rude. And they can also be thieves, because they justify anything that is moral to humankind. So, yeah, like, the Gemini, they justify anything. They could justify right and wrong because they are ruled by Mercury, and they have that ability to communicate and use their words to basically say why something could be right. They are very they think outside of the box like that, to where they can justify wrongdoing. Sagittariuses are very moral, so if they feel like they're poor and homeless and they need to eat, it's not fair for a human being to, they will justify why they'll go into the store and steal the whole store. So they have these, these impatient qualities that will cause them to react off impulse. They can be very impulsive. Yeah, so another thing about them is they can be very irritating at times when they think that they know it all, because dark-sided Sagittarius, sometimes they become very preachy and they like to tell people because of the experiences that they've had. They are usually the type of people who learn from others, or they learn from bumping their own head and making mistakes, or both. And they are very prone to saying, don't do that, that is stupid, like, that's dumb. You like that Capricorn people, they always be like, what made you do that, that's so stupid. And so do Aquarius. They're like, that's stupid human stuff, like, why do humans do that, right? Sagittarius share that type of energy as well, like, don't do that. They like to cautious people, but sometimes they don't let other people just learn for themselves, and then they could be so rude about it in the way that they go about telling a person, don't do it that way, like, that's not okay. And they become preachy and pushy, and people begin to dislike them because they think they know it all. And that's how the angry person would think on the opposite side, outside looking in. Like, them Sagittarius think that they know everything and they don't know nothing. That's what the, darker side. I'm a Sagittarius, so I know how people could think that way. So yeah, they could definitely be very self-righteous too. They have this Jupiter energy, so they're ruled by Jupiter. So they have this very justifiable, like, moral, honorable energy, and they have high ego that's all funneled through pride and honor and respect and honesty and all of these things that kind of makes them big-headed, to where sometimes they can be very self-righteous, and they could even believe that they deserve things that other people just don't. Like, they're above that. They can feel like they do so much good, they don't deserve to be done wrong. But they're very in tune with spirituality, which can cause them to be, if they are very self-righteous and they're dark-sided, they can be cult leaders. These people can lead people into, they can gain the power by speaking truth. Once they start to see that people are following them, they can begin to like, run out of ideas and start taking other people's ideas. Remember, they're mutable. They can blend in, they can adapt. So if they become in a position they were never before, they're gonna look to other leaders and see what they do, and they'll start adapting things to their groups and create cults. Okay, and They could be so power hungry and so strongly driven to keep control and keep this feeling of conquered, because all of these terms drive the Sagittarius energy. They feel like they conquered something, so then they'll be, I'm sorry, I'm a Sagittarius and I'm making myself crack up, but yeah, they begin to become self-righteous when they're not humble. So they believe that people should, sometimes they could live above the law, they could live above their means, be very horrible with money when they're not grounded. Yeah, so they could be very negative. They could use their spiritual enlightenment, their spiritual gifts and abilities to control the minds of others, because they feel more powerful in that, right? Another thing about the Sagittarius, dark sided Sagittarius, are they can be very lazy. They can be prone to laziness because when they are up and about, they could get a lot of things done. Sometimes they overexhaust themselves, like how the Gemini sun sign, how they can be restless mentally. The Sagittarius, not just sun sign, but the dark sided, the dark sided, wherever Sagittarius is really influenced negatively, like squares and oppositions and just negatively aspected by choice, the Sagittarius energy can be restless physically, so they can become lazy, and that's not really good for the Sagittarius, because they should always be on the go, creating goals for themselves and projecting themselves out and seeing and then creating what they visualize. But sometimes they could be lost and stuck in that seeing aspect. They share that Jupiter expansion with Pisces, so they can be stuck in that, in that just visualizing step, or they could never get to that step once they lose momentum. This is a real jaded Sagittarius. The dark side of Sagittarius is that are extremely negative, and they just don't bring forth much to the world, and they don't realize, what they possess. These people could be, the thing about Sagittarius is once they're like dropped, they'll pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and they'll try again. Pick yourself up and try it again. They'll do that. Like they don't give up. Like, but the Sagittarius that do give up, they can be addictive personalities and do things in an excess. So they can be, the people that give up, they can be addicted to drugs, and they can just run for that drug, run for that man, run for that woman. They can just be controlled by whatever is feeding them, because they are no longer feeding themselves that inspiration, that enlightenment, that hope. That is what keeps the Sagittarius energy so raw and authentic and appreciated and needed in the world. When they lose that spark, they look for it and seek it in other, because they love that, to be inspired. They love that type of spirit. They are fire ultimately, so they like to always find places where that something, places, people, places, or things that can inspire them or make them feel. So they can be very addictive, have very addictive personalities. If the alcohol gives them a feeling, they'll be alcoholics. That inspires them to do this, and they become more laughing and all that. They'll be excessively drinking, right? Even with drugs, if the drug is doing something to them that is making them feel like, this is the best feeling in the world, they will chase that drug. They chase that spirit, that high spirit, that a positive Sagittarius naturally possesses the ability to make a person feel high. I just know that because, like, I've had experiences with people where I've mentally stimulated them so much that they left with the biggest smile, or you felt those transformative parts of the conversation where you're enlightening them, and they just feel so engaged and they're enjoying it. They feel high. Now, if they don't possess that, because they don't no longer feed that inner, spirit, that ability to inspire and uplift, then they will seek it in things that destroy them. So they can have very addictive personalities. Anything they do in access, it can be harmful. So they need to learn to humble themselves. Oh my God, this incense is going crazy, y'all. So, um, okay, so let's keep going. Okay, so yeah, they can be very blunt, rude, and just plain disrespectful with the way that they talk to people. And they could turn a blind eye to things just for the sake of themselves. Sometimes they only react and respond off what is serving them. And if it's affecting or harming someone else, they're like, oh, that don't got nothing to do with me. They run away from problems. That's another thing. Another thing about Sagittarius is they can be very neglectful. Even if they are neglecting their children, like it could be someone really close to them. Like these people strive for freedom. So they could neglect their children, they could neglect their family, all to serve their own selfish desire, need to have fun and to experience. And this is the dark-sided Sagittarius. These people could be super cold and super rude and so detached and have no empathy for people. Like they could really, when they say, I don't care, like not even like that. When they be like I really don't care. They really do not care. Like, did you see the way I just said that? Like, I really do not care. Like, and they not blink. Like, I do not care. That's how a Sagittarius person could be. And they really don't. Just like that Capricorn energy. You got to watch out. Some signs and them Scorpios, when they say they don't care, you got to know that they really don't care. So you just, some people lie. They say they don't care and really be caring, like them Cancers. No. I'm a Cancer moon, so I know. But anyways, yeah, so them they can be very neglectful and they can focus on themselves. I've been a victim to that too. Sagittarius can also be neglected as kids. The Pisces and Sagittarius energy deals with that isolation, detachment, even Saturn energy. So in my chart personally, I have some aspects. I'm a Pisces rising, Sagittarius sun. So it was inevitable for me to not live with my mom or dad and being a threat to going in the foster system, and then ended up, my great aunt raised me and things of that nature. So that neglect was all early on in my chart. And then I'm a Saturn dominant person. So what that creates is a person that has a lot of restrictions and they don't have a traditional lifestyle that other people may have. So they may grow up very isolated from the world and having to figure things out for themselves. So Sagittarius has this energy of either being neglected or neglecting others when they get older. And so and that's a dark-sided one, okay? That's a dark side that kind of affected me in the shady hand that I was given. But everyone has free will. The dark-sided Sagittarius, they choose to act on that blunt, self-righteous, immoral. Okay, these people preach all day about morality, but could be doing the most immoral things. They can be very confident, very egotistical, bragging, boastful, feeling as though they can go up against anyone, competitive in a very negative way. Where they want to intimidate others. They like that. So it's really good in sports. Like, for instance, my Mars is in Sagittarius and so is my sun, so it conjuncts. And I have Antares on my sun, so I can be very intimidating in sports, and I can be very intimidating in physical activities and things, because my Mars and my sun is like, you seeing the way I'm acting, and it's aggressive and it's masculine and it's direct and it's intimidating and it's confident and it's aware and it's sure. I'm sure of myself. Arrogance, all that. But these people can have anger issues, very prone to breaking things when they're younger as well. They can be inconsistent. They can, shine like a star and just to sweep a person off their feet or get that job they want, and then start lacking, getting lazy. And when they don't want to do something anymore, they will start getting lazy, and you'll be like, whoa, like, we weren't like that before, what happened? But yeah, so I want to end the video here. Please let me know, what do you think about the more dark-sided Sagittarius energy in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in to Universal Love Law, and peace.